Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Nolan Baker and Chaz Price. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. The website, arhq.com. It seems like it is a never-ending cycle, honestly, but the 2024 election is upon us, less than a year away. And a new survey from Nationwide found that 45% of investors believe the results of the U.S. presidential and congressional elections are going to have a bigger influence on retirement plans and portfolios than the market itself. So how often do you find your clients factoring politics into their investment decisions, and what is your advice when it comes to that?
Well, when we're looking at how we should factor politics into an investment plan, I would say, one thing Mom always taught me was never talk politics at the holidays.
Not at the dinner table.
Good thing is you're listening to our radio show, so we're going to give you that advice today and talk to you about, what you should do and how to position your portfolio, with the upcoming election and what's happening right now. The first observation that I would have, if I took a look back, say, over the last roughly year, Chaz, what I would say is that there's people that I'm running into that I would say fall into a category that I would refer to as investment paralysis. So it's either that or people that are making major investment changes because of their view on the politics. And so again, it's not a debate whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or which side you lean towards. The reality is investment paralysis and or making major financial changes to your portfolio based upon how you feel the election results are going to happen over the next year can be a costly mistake. In fact, I met with one gentleman. He had reached out to us after hearing us at one of our public speaking events, and we'll call him Tom. So Tom came into the office, and it was October of last year. So again, way ahead of the election time. But, he came in based upon what he was thinking the election results were going to look like. And had moved completely out of the market. He moved his money over into traditional FDIC-insured CDs. Now, we flash forward to today in 2023 at the end of the year, CD rates are significantly higher than what they were a little over a year ago. So one, he got out of the market when the market was going down last year. And two is he locked in terrible interest rates, with interest rates are significantly higher today. So now he's stuck in a tough situation. The market has rallied in 2023. He really missed out on all that rally in the market. And now if he decides to kind of jump back into the market because it's rallying, he could get a double whammy if the market moves down. Other people that I've met with, talk about, what their political view and outlook is about the election. So if we look at it and we go back and we look at the election year results and we look at what did the S&P 500 index do during election years? The S&P has been here a long time, so it's well over 20 cycles that we've had 4-year elections in the S&P, and about 80% of the time, the S&P 500 index posted positive results in an election year. So you can't directly invest into the S&P 500 index, but what it would show is that equities have a history of, performing well. And if we stop and we think about it, I would say it makes a lot of sense because obviously whoever is the political leader wants to talk about how great things are, and whoever is the person that's running to come into the office wants to talk about how great things are going to be. But if you were a listener to our show and you want to say, Nolan, okay, what do I do about this? I feel like I'm in this situation of investment paralysis. I'm on the verge of making a change to my investment portfolio. The first thing we should do is get together. Let's have an independent portfolio analysis. We can go through your investments and take a look at making sure that your investment plan is not only set to survive next year, but thrive next year. A couple of things that I would say, here's advice that I give listeners. Number one is educate yourself. So by listening to the show, again, I'm doing the show, so I'm somewhat biased, but I'd say great job. You're getting some knowledge and beginning to take steps to understand, to help contribute to making smart financial decisions to get you out of that paralysis mode and knowing what the basics are, knowing what the pros and cons of investing are. Number two is you want to set some clear financial goals. Those goals talk about what your income needs are going to be next year. You want to have short-term and long-term goals. How long do you want your money to last? What are you doing to protect your retirement savings from things like a healthcare? Do you have plans to downsize in the future and tap some of the equity in your home? As we talked about in previous shows, understanding what your risk tolerance is. knowing what your internal gut says that you can tolerate if and when the market gets a little bit hectic or volatile, and or what your portfolio needs to be invested at risk-wise to increase the probability of success. It doesn't, number four, protect you from losses all the time, but diversification is still an investment process that involves spreading your portfolio into different asset classes, and it can be a way to reduce risk. Number five, you can start small. If you come into the office and you meet with us or anybody else, we might come up with 10 or 15 different investment ideas for you, and it doesn't mean you have to do all 10 or 15. We recently met with a client, and what we had talked about is when we did the portfolio risk score, they came out and they had a risk score of about 80. And 80 means 80 out of 100. So that means they were, fairly heavily weighted towards equities, which the good news is for the past 10 years, equities have been a great place to be. But as they get ready for retirement time, he said, Nolan, what's my end goal of where should I be? And I said, well, based upon this, you probably need to be somewhere in that 40 to 45 risk level because you have enough financial assets and you don't need to take as much risk. And again, talking to them about where they need to be. But what we decided to do was take things in small steps. So I said, you don't need to go 80 miles an hour and slam on the gas, or slam on the brakes right now and go all the way to 40 miles an hour. Maybe it's time to take small steps and move a little bit in the right direction. And that's number six, where seeking some professional advice can be a great way, talking with a financial professional, getting that personalized guidance when somebody understands your situation, your unique goals. I think, when you're having emotional challenges about the markets and the economy, that's really where a financial advisor can earn his paycheck and helping you make sound financial decisions. But you do have to accept the other fact that everything has risk associated with it. There's some level of risk. And, when you look at politics and you're trying to decide where do I position my portfolio based upon risk, knowing that if you go all to cash, there's a risk associated with that. Just the same as if you go too much in equities, there's a risk associated with that. Mm-hmm. Number 8 is stick with the plan. So once you have a plan in place and it's a well thought out plan, you understand the investment methodology, the process, and having that roadmap put together with it, you want to try to stick with the plan. Emotionally, short term, sometimes you feel like you're out of control because we can't control what happens in Washington. But what you can control is the decisions that you make on what to do with your investment. So sometimes, making a change, you feel like you're getting back in control, but making that change can be an emotional, painful decision. And especially when you have a plan and you want to stick with it. So, stay informed, but, avoid sometimes overanalysis. We talk about paralysis, but Chaz, sometimes I also run into people that can't make a decision because they constantly just, want to analyze things way too much, and it leads them to make, again, a decision to make no decisions at all. So a couple of pointers there. And, when you're looking at how we should factor in politics in your investment plan, if you feel like that maybe you're overanalyzing things right now, if you feel like maybe you're stuck, or if you feel like you're in a situation where maybe, you want to make a change and you're not sure, is that in your best interest or should you make that change? Pick up the phone, give us a call, 419-794-3030. Let's do an independent portfolio analysis. And I'm, more than happy as a radio show listener to have a conversation with you to talk to you about, how to get positioned to go into 2024 with an election year.
Yeah. The other thing I'd just point out real quickly is the taxes. I mean, the upcoming political elections, I think, is going to have a significant impact on wealthy individuals. And it's particularly because if Democrats get the White House and Congress, they might try to increase taxes more for the wealthy individuals. Maybe even extend or repeal some of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act deductions that in high deductions that we all enjoy now. Whereas if Republicans get Congress and the White House, they might try to extend some of those cuts. And so I think now, Nolan, would be a great time if you're, in that income level where maybe you feel like you're squarely in the sights of the government, you feel like you're getting crushed on taxes year after year. It is a good time to do some planning because, you don't get to choose which president or which Congress is going to be controlling, but you do get to plan for it. So let's have a conversation about taxes and control.
Well, I think you bring up a great point there as we wrap up this segment, which is the word control. So again, we all want to be in control of the situation. There are things in life that you can't control, like again, the election. You can't control that. But you pointed out some great examples that you can control. So, we know that policy changes are going to be coming, whether it's tax rates, they're likely to go up. You can control the decision that you make today about things like a Roth conversion and or where you put future contributions. You can control being able to be in a position to buy when the market dips. Look, a pullback is going to happen, whether it's the election, whether it's a war or something else, but know what your entry points are and know what your exit points are and have a control of that financial decision. We also know that Social Security and many other government programs are broke, so you can control having a plan B in place and not relying on the government. And I think that in itself, beyond the independent portfolio analysis, Chaz, is one of the great things to get like a second opinion, to get an outside perspective, because it allows you to kind of open your eyes about what are the things that I can make decisions on, that I can control. And that's, sitting down and having that conversation is those eye-opening things that we can walk you through.
Because here's the truth of it. Over the course of a 20, 30-year retirement, you're going to see multiple elections. And occasionally the person you want to win is going to win, and occasionally the person that you don't want to win is going to win. You don't need to have that emotional decision to dictate and sometimes, ultimately make the wrong decision for you. Be able to control what you can control. Put a plan in place for whatever may come down the line. Have that independent portfolio analysis done. Have that second opinion done. The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, they're here for you to help you. 419-794-3030 is how you get started, and the website is arhq.com.